All right, they say, tell them what you're going to tell them, then tell them what you told them. So in this video, I'm going to tell you how we as American descendants of slavery, black veterans, black soldiers, 3 of whom were recently killed in Jordan in airstrikes, we refuse to be used as justification for an expanded war with Iran and other countries, especially because we know that it was human error that actually allowed the drone to get through. Human error on our part. Yeah, because we also shouldn't be there in the first place. At the same time, you will learn that black veterans have the only leverage on the planet from a moral and spiritual authority perspective to actually make demands that Israel cease fire immediately, because it was black veterans, the Tuskegee Airmen and Patton's 761st Tank Battalion, that not only liberated the Jews in 3 different concentration camps, but it was the Tuskegee Airmen who figured out how to fly farther and deeper into Hitler's Germany while taking on the master race's superior fleet of ace pilots with jets using piston and propeller-driven airplanes. Yeah, it was these black pilots, Charlie Kirk, who were actually responsible for the defeat of Hitler, which is the only reason that Israel exists, because Hitler was trying to exterminate the Jews. So black veterans who were black soldiers at the time, and there were black men before that, the most hated being on the planet next to the Palestinians there in Gaza. What's interesting is that it is we who saved Jewish people from annihilation. Jewish people committing genocide against Palestinians, just causing other brown countries in the region to say, wait a second, we're not going to stand by and allow you to do this because it's wrong. God's promised you a homeland, but you don't have the right to wipe out an indigenous people, because prior to 1948, you lived in peaceful coexistence with not just other Jewish people, but with Muslims, Christians, Baha'is, people of all walks of life. So to exterminate an indigenous people is wrong. So this video series will help you understand more about why it is that we as black soldiers, veterans, people, have the only moral and spiritual authority to demand that Israel cease fire immediately. And we're making that demand now. More on that later. But again, we as black people refuse to allow President Biden to use the deaths of these 3 black soldiers in Jordan as justification for war. Instead, we'd rather him do exactly like Iran and Pakistan did, who previously were having a tit for tat going back and forth, but they realized, wait a second, peaceful coexistence is the only way that we survive what's coming. We have to get the supply chains moving in the Red Sea again. We have to eliminate the danger to the container shipments, which means that we need Israel to stand down immediately, which is exactly why I'm coming to you now with a solid plan to get leverage over Congress so that they can withstand Israel's powerful lobby on Capitol Hill. I'll actually be meeting with a dear friend of mine, Rabbi Mindy Cohen of the Chabad of Sacramento. We're going to be talking about the merits of a ceasefire. He's a Zionist. He doesn't want it. And on behalf of everyone else on the planet, I'll be representing those who have the moral and spiritual authority to demand a ceasefire immediately. We'll be having that conversation on Access Sacramento with my brother from another mother, K. Dredge, and his program, Dredge Together. Before that happens, what I need to do is a fundraiser so I can get my website up and start a marketing campaign for a peace movement that will improve lives of people across the nation and around the world by getting supply chains and global economies moving again. Because again, no one has come up with a plan to solve problems that the World Economic Forum and Congress are causing, but either don't know how or are unwilling to solve the way that we can, which you can learn more about by checking out the other videos at phiers.org, which is another reason that we're launching a fundraiser today, so we can get our site up and running before this conversation about how to get a ceasefire immediately with Rabbi Mindy Cohen, while also getting leverage over Congress and the President to not just cease fire, but to quite possibly bring our troops home so that there are no more unfortunate mistakes. no more opportunities to accidentally escalate. The time for peace is now. And so I'm asking my dear friends, if you like what I'm talking about, to consider putting something in the tip jar so I can continue my work and so we can engage the Global Thought Leadership Accelerators that want to help us spread our message for peace in the Middle East and here at home. Because this is a plan that can also solve problems important to we the people by getting us to organize and buy meds and other goods and services as a group through an online marketplace that's 100% owned, operated by and accountable only to we the people. If we do that, then we can compete with Amazon, Walmart, and those online venues, while use elective bargaining and buying power to finance the creation of the People's Bank. So we will have low and no interest loans to get the economy moving again, to get people out of this death spiral so that we can buy some of this low interest rate housing and get people out of high interest rate credit card debt and help people actually refinance and start purchasing real estate again. Not just residential, but even those distressed properties in the city at cut rate prices. We can do all of this the moment we give Medicare the benefits of negotiated prices on medications. Because right now, they're literally paying tens of thousands of percent markups because big corporations game the system. All of those things are going to be changed the moment we get just 1,500 voters in a voting district. It takes 500 for a representative and 1,000 signatures and email addresses to get a senator to attend your town hall meeting where we can hold them accountable for making decisions that will protect and respect the interests of their constituents.
We have to start with something very simple. 20 people in a congressional district, they print a letterhead, and they basically say, Congress watchdog, district, whatever, California, with the name of the member and the 2 senators. And they float it. And they basically say, who wants to join? And when you get 500, that will get you the visit by a member of the House of Representatives. That's how little it takes. 500 citizens on a petition with their name legible, their occupation legible, and their contact information. So it isn't just some corner petition where someone scribbles their name, nobody can read it. If you have 1,000 names on a petition, you'll get a senator coming to your town meeting. People don't understand that. They think, you have to get tens of thousands. There's so little organization back home that level of organization starts scaring the members. They say, well, we've never had 500 clear signatures asking us to come to a town meeting and discuss the people's agenda. So instead of focusing on the end game, which is 535 members of Congress that have the sovereign power delegated to them under the Constitution, you start with the people back home, and you'll see the sparks coming. You'll see the signals. You'll see the yellow lights blinking over Congress when that happens. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen years ago. You've read about it in the civil rights movement, environment, women's rights. There's never more than 1% of the people who know what they're talking about, are determined, and are advancing causes supported by a majority of the people that can be defeated in Congress no matter how many corporations swarm the area. Less than 1%.
This is a plan to get leverage over politicians at home and abroad, because this is a grassroots movement, a union for unions, to join us so that we can use collective bargaining to get leverage over employers worldwide, especially as it relates to things associated with our supply chain. We can do all of this and more, but again, I can't get the ball rolling until I can get this non-linear 5D solution out of my head and into the hands of influence who I know are going to want to support us in this cause after we've prevented the escalation of war. So if you like the things I'm talking about, please consider putting a little something in the tip jar. All I have is CashApp right now. It's in the description box below. But if the people who are receiving this video now are a select few, because you know me, you know what it is that I'm here to do. You know the relationship I have with Al Wilson, Dad of the Year, of the decade, of the century. Here I am with a real live hero. How long did you serve?
20 years, 6 months, 24 days, 3 hours, 35 minutes, and 40 seconds. Air Force. And it was a joyful service for my country, but not only for my country, the world. We won the war. So that's why we're together today and want to speak with you. Let's end this war. What do you think, son?
I think there's wise words.
As we sit here as an African American or black man, call us whatever, we have love for the world. That's why we're doing this. Please listen. Stop the war now.
Those are important words, Dad, because $2 million missiles to destroy $2,000 drones, it's not sustainable. We need to force Congress to exercise its power of the purse and its power to end the wars and stop arming our allies while demanding that they stop funding the genocide. As Ralph Nader said, it only takes 1,500 signatures. Check this out.
So when you see, if people just got on the field of action under members of Congress, which is the most powerful institution in the entire world, that's the institution that makes the military-industrial empire possible. It makes the corporate tax evaders possible. It makes everything possible. And that's what it is under the Constitution. It's the primary branch of government. It's not the equal branch. It's the tax branch, the declare war branch, the spending branch, the nomination confirmation of judges branch, the investigatory branch. And it turns out it's the smallest branch. Only 535 men and women who put their shoes on like we do every day. What are we waiting for? Even Warren Buffett once said, we're 300 million people. Why can't we control Congress? It's because we've given up. How do you mobilize voters? How do you get through the flim flam? How do you summon your members back to your own town meetings? It's easier than we think. Once the people get mobilized, the corporations don't have any votes, not yet at least. They have money. Why do the members of Congress want the money? So they can scare off primary opponents and put a lot of ads on TV. Well, if the people organize with a cutting edge to their vote and summon their senators and representatives to repeated town meetings, and you tell them in advance what you want to demand that they do, so they bone up on it, and they don't say, well, we'll go back and think about it. And then you have them on the stage, and you question them, and people in the audience. I mean, how hard is that?
This is where we get our leverage, so pay attention.
500 petitions with legible names and occupation can bring any member of the House anywhere to a town meeting. 1,000 to 1,500 can bring any senator. They don't hear from the people. They freak out if you just get 1,000 legible names with occupations and emails. So we got to give people heart. We got to show that they can get it done. They're too discouraged. There was a New York Times page one piece you probably saw weeks ago where they said people are so turned off Washington that they don't even bother complaining. Well, that's a bunch of quitters. I mean, come on, grow up, people. You're the sovereign people. It's we the people in the Constitution. It's not we the corporation or we the Congress. We got to stop soft pedaling and coddling people who are hurting and who agree with you, but just keep looking at their iPhone screen day after day.
Unless you're checking out the other videos at the phiers.org website where people can learn that we have enough leverage over Congress to force them to do the bidding of we the people, so that people actually have something to vote for as opposed to against, right? So how about we say no to what the World Economic Forum is doing? We say no to the Pandemic Health Treaty. We engage the independent, objective, and unbiased academic research community that wants to improve the human condition, that wants to solve medical problems and all types of challenges facing humanity in ways that are redemptive and forward-leaning. But that's exactly the platform that we have to offer through phiers.org. The way to happiness is a good place to start for our planet, as well as their goals for a drug-free world. So with that, I'm going to ask that you support our fundraising initiative so that I can get this website up and we can go ahead and have our discussion about how to get a ceasefire going now as opposed to later, because no one on the planet has more moral or spiritual authority to expect Israel to heed this demand, because Jews are a proud people. If black veterans who are responsible for their existence are calling for a ceasefire now, and if Israel would not exist but for the heroic contributions of these black veterans, it is these Jews who owe black veterans, who were black soldiers at the time and black men before that, deemed as the least among us. It is we who are demanding that not only Israel, but President Biden stand down, do not escalate the war, and you owe this to us. because Israel and Zionism would not exist in its current state unless we saved you from extinction. Now we're demanding that you do the right thing by the world, because the moment you cease fire, then the Houthis will quit attacking these container ships, and we will stop the escalation of war in the Middle East and in the Red Sea, which will get our supply chains moving again, which will help unions around the world get what they've been looking for. You can learn more about that at my website. But anyway, I told you what I was going to tell you. The other videos actually have a lot more detail, but everything I say is evidence-based, non-speculative, it's verifiable, and it is a way forward to thriving in an alt-cult world after the collapse comes. Because the goal of us at phiers.org is to create order out of chaos. And working together with our friends in the WISE community, we think that we can do exactly that once the world realizes the value that Black veterans offers humanity. That's what we have to offer. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thanks for watching. We've got leverage for a ceasefire now. Biden, Israel, we as Black veterans really do have the moral and spiritual authority to demand that you do exactly as we're requesting. Because if you don't, then you're not fit for office. And the world knows that you are a pariah because you don't do that which serves the collective best interest of humanity. You're only looking out for your donors. And that's not good for anyone except for you and your people, when I'm here representing the best interests of poor and working people and everyone else worldwide. Because again, we all rely on the supply chain, and we have to get the engine of the world moving again. And this is a way to do exactly that. Prevent war now. So in closing, just know that if we get 1,500 voters in a voting district, we can hold Congress, the House of Representatives and Senators accountable for attending our town hall meetings, which is how we overcome the influence of money in politics. It starts by helping me get my website and my marketing team together, and so we can engage the WISE consultants in a multi-dimensional solution to the biggest challenges facing humanity. That's what's within reach right now. So if you can help, please do. Thanks for watching.